Agenda item number 14, consider report from the chairman of the Financial Advisory Committee for update number 8, plan for expenditures in excess of budget, net revenue, or fund balance. Mr. Whitaker.
I wanted to, can y'all hear me? Can I speak from here? Do I have to get up? Is it all right?
You just stand.
You want me to stand? Okay.
The audience has spoken.
Okay. I just wanted to say something about the proposed budget. There's been several people speak today, and I'm speaking to you, Judge Lacey. Your proposed budget, there's been several, let's call them errors pointed out. There's no contingency for the Sheriff's Department. These guys have already worked the hours. All they have to do is complain to the Department of Labor, and you'll end up paying it. Now, I understand there's a policy that may not have been adhered to, but that's a moot point at this point. These guys have worked, they've got to be paid. And in your budget, there's no contingency for these issues.
We're on agenda item number 14.
Right. About the budget.
We're addressing update number 8.
Okay. You said we can allow people to speak as long as there's no motion on the table, and I'm talking about the budget.
No, we're on an agenda item. You may address this agenda item.
Okay, I am addressing it. If you'll stick with me, you'll catch me, okay? The point is, you presented a proposed budget. There's been some contingencies pointed out that haven't been considered. The City of New Boston is getting cut from 911. The Sheriff's Department don't have money to pay the work that they've already worked for. There's other issues been pointed out about constables. And we're talking about the budget and the proposed budget. You've calculated the revenue. And you've allocated all that revenue for the next year. But you haven't built in a contingency for a deficit. If next year's revenue is $30 million, and we've got $1 million deficit, well, you can't budget but $29 million for the next year. Do you see my point? One year carries over into the next. If we finish this year at a deficit, we can't obligate all of next year's money. I think these are big issues that have been pointed out that you need to consider possibly revising your budget. Also in your budget, you did not increase the maintenance and operation. You could, which might address these issues that the Sheriff's Department and the Constable in the City of New Boston have brought up. We're your financial advisory committee. You should use us as a resource. These are legitimate questions. Our work speaks for itself. This doesn't have anything to do with politics. Read our work. Use us. Ask us a question. Is this not a legitimate issue that needs to be discussed? If we're going to finish the year in the deficit, we think we are. You need to consider that in next year's budget. If we're going to get $30 million, and we're going to have $1 million deficit, we can't spend but 29. But maybe you're going to have to consider raising the maintenance and operation. Make sense? Okay.
Our previous update number 3, dated July 1st, recommended the Commissioners Court develop procedures on how to address proposed expenditures that exceed budgeted amounts. This is an obvious situation that is coming up fast. From the minutes of the July 10th Commissioners Court meeting, on the 10th day of July, no action was taken on this item after discussion to develop procedures to control spending in excess of budgeted amounts. If you remember when our committee was started, Sterling Lacey kept talking about where the $4 million was. The difference between the $20 million that had come in and the $16 million that had been spent. Here's the article in 4 States News. On Tuesday, May 27th, Bowie County Judge Sterling Lacey showed in Commissioners Court that the county had a budget surplus of $4,641,000. And today, 3 months later, the same budget document shows that Bowie County doesn't have $4.7 million. It doesn't have $4 million. It has less than $90,000 of budget left after the payroll checks next Friday. We know where the $4 million is It's in this expense report. It has been spent. Every dollar is listed right here. Profit for the year so far, $85,189. Mr. Auditor, do we have that in the bank, or is it missing?
No, we have money in the bank.
We have more money, we have more cash than this in the bank.
That's correct.
But this $89,000 is the amount of this year's budget that we can legally spend. What all does the county have to do with this $90,000 it has left after the payroll on Friday? Well, one of my suggestions would be to make the last quarterly payment to Bowie County Appraisal District of $80,000 so we can get our taxes collected next year. So that kind of leaves less than $10,000. Now the August payroll checks that went out Friday, they're already covered in here. But the health insurance is not, that's paid a week later. And the retirement is not, it's paid a week later. So if you count those, Bowie County's budget is in a negative situation after the August payroll. About 250 families are counting on 2 paychecks in September. About $1 million. $90,000? $1 million. I'm scared. There's a contractual jail payment of $400,000. There's a contractual bi-state payment of over $200,000. And we got some phone utility and light bills and speaker systems, constable raises, overtime pay, etc. Now, to help the $90,000 a little, there will be about $500,000 of sales tax revenue coming in September. Dana's department's going to bring in a little money. Billy's department's going to bring in a little money. We'll have a little money coming in from the departments, but not much, and not enough. The county appears solvent through the August payroll, barely. But like we suggested back July 1st, there needs to be a plan when the finances become overspent and then insolvent. And for the good of the county, the leadership all needs to be on the same page.
Amen.
Now, when the $90,000 or the $10,000 gets spent, it's a problem. The budget has been overspent and provides no resources to legally keep spending. At that point, the county would typically dip down into its beginning fund balance. But due to prior overspending, the beginning fund balance is down to only $474,650. And that contains designated or restricted fund balance. So maybe county officials shouldn't dip into that after the $90,000 is spent. So Sterling Lacey, you want to follow the law. You also like to criticize and investigate those that don't adhere to your personal letter of the law. You don't trust me. You don't trust the committee. You don't trust the county auditor. You don't trust the treasurer. I don't think you trust the legal advisor who's not here today to help us. And I don't think you trust the commissioners. Later this meeting, you will ask the county auditor if the bills are within budget, and I suspect he will be able to say yes this time, the last time this year. Next time, he will have to say no. Do you have a plan for that? So the question for this court: should county employees come back to work after Labor Day? How can you expect them to work if you don't all agree to pay them? There has to be some plan that will generate a unanimous vote from the Commissioners Court to pay the bills and the employees. Or everybody needs to know that we cannot honor the payroll and our bill obligation. Next meeting to pay the bills and to avoid stopping payroll, Starling Lacey, you're going to have to be comfortable with moving forward. You will have to make the motion, I suspect, to pay the bills that are over the limit. And then you'll have to vote yes. You cannot miss the meeting. You cannot abstain and let others carry this burden. You cannot vote no and expect others to vote yes. Y'all are all in this together. So the county, for the rest of this week, before payroll is up on Friday, we need to decide how to move forward. If Starling Lacey can satisfy any concerns he has and make the motion and vote yes for the good of the county, I think everybody else will too, and that is what is needed. But if you, Starling Lacey, have concerns that do not allow you to make the motion to pay these bills and paychecks in September, if you have concerns, I suspect the other 4 commissioners are going to have concerns too. And that means without a consensus and without a plan, nothing past this $90,000 limit gets paid. So we recommend the Commissioners Court be able to tell the employees yes or no soon before the next pay period starts. They and their family need a plan too. I suspect that we are going to want to all pay our employees and we're going to all pay our bills, even though it's going to be negative, it's going to be past the budget, it's going to be past fund balance, it's going to be uncharted territory. And we're still probably going to have to pay them. All of us. And then that negative balance, as Joe was saying, is going to impact next year's budget. I don't have the answers anymore. This is way past this, and we don't have our legal advisor here. Our update number 8, and I think what I have just said explains the predicament. William Tye today is going to say yes. September 8th, depending on if the sales tax money is here or not, he's going to say no. Do I have that probably correctly stated, sir?
Yes, sir, that is correct.
I'll be glad to answer any questions. And I wish I had an idea. Except all 5 of y'all together can make this work.
Questions or comments on agenda item number 14, which is consider a report? Moving to agenda item number 15, consider and take action to authorize county auditor to obtain legal and accounting guidance regarding overspending the net budget and general fund balance.
Yes, sir, Judge, we just heard the report from the chair, legal advisor, and in an effort to work on that plan as he has established for us to pay our employees, pay our bills, and our obligations. I'd like to make a, ask if there's any other comments.
I have a
Yes,
question. I have a question.
Yes, sir.
Have we spent the $1.93 million we have left in the loan yet?
No, we've got plenty of cash, but that has nothing to do with this.
Well, we borrowed that to make up the
Exactly.
shortfall of the budget.
Exactly.
That has a lot to do with this. Do we not have $500,000 coming in sales tax revenue?
Sure, we will.
Do we not have $720,000 of cash in the FEMA account?
Yes, sir.
Well, then-
Mike, would you?
And to more specifically answer your question, this is not a cash problem. We have cash.
It is a cash problem.
No, sir. You spent 3 hours with the auditor and don't understand what's going on. That's a
I
tragedy.
know what's going
Now,
on, Mike.
there is not a cash problem. There is a legal spending problem.
I agree with that, and we knew that 3 months ago when we borrowed $5 million.
But all the $5 million allows you to do is to pay authorized bills. It doesn't allow you to deficit spend. Get some legal help, get some accounting help. You can't spend stuff that's not legal whether you got $1 billion in the bank.
Well, I agree with you there. I'm just saying that you're scaring or trying to scare the county employees that they're not gonna get paid.
No, he's just stating facts.
We're past that. We've been talking about this for months, and you don't trust me.
Yeah, we know we've been broke for months.
We've been broke for years.
Oh, yeah, I agree with you there too, Joe. We've been broke for years. And we're doing everything we can.
Well, we're past our ability to help.
Well,
I have
know.
just described what's about to happen. You may have a different alternative reality. You may come up with a plan. Even if, a great plan. I mean, as long as all 5 of y'all agree, what I suspect is all 5 of y'all will agree to spend the cash to make the payroll. I've suggested that, knowing that it's unauthorized spending. Because it's past the budget, and it's past the
So
fund
you're
balance.
saying, as the financial advisory committee chairman, that the $1.93 million that we borrowed to make up the shortfall of the budget is unauthorized spending?
It was to make up the shortfall of the cash.
It was the shortfall of the budget.
At the time it was borrowed, you had a $4 million profit.
Well,
That's why Judge Lacey did not want to borrow it.
Well, we knew that that was going to go.
Yes, sir, and it has evaporated.
Yes.
Confusion cash revenue. A minute ago, you asked Mr. Ty, you said the sales tax revenue is going to come in and help. He said yes. Key word of your sentence, revenue.
I know
$5
the
million
I know
is
the
not
difference-
revenue in the
I know the
budget.
difference in revenue and cash.
No, sir, I'm afraid you don't in this
I
sense.
do. And as a commissioner's court, we can convert cash to revenue.
No.
Well,
If the cash is in the bank, it's already been recognized.
What-
as
if
revenue.
it's-
It's
I'm
okay,
not
if
gonna get
if
into
that's
that.
the plan, it's okay. Please do so. I'm comfortable with that. Please do so.
Mike, you're saying you've got cash to pay the bills, and you're correct. Mike's saying we don't have the fund balance with the budget to legally pay the bills. It's 2 separate issues.
So I agree with you.
Okay, so you're right, we got the cash to pay the bills.
We got the cash to pay
And
the
that's
bills.
probably what'll happen, the bills will be paid. But what's gonna happen on the audit? What are the auditors gonna say when you overspent the fund balance, when you're bankrupt per the books? When you overspent the revenue, you overspent the budget?
10 years.
But all eyes are on it this year, and that guy's not gonna wiggle around a window dressing.
It has never spent past the fund balance. I've been talking to the Texas Association of Counties. In modern times, they're not aware of another county in this situation. Okay? It's a problem. I've been raising my hand for months, talking about the problem.
I'm not arguing with
And
you.
now I would like to hear a plan.
This is a legitimate issue. It's not political at all, it's a fact.
I agree that, you know, why have a budget if you can't stay within it? And we exceed it. My budget at precinct 4, when I got there, it was pretty much gone. There was $1.3 million and that was there for revenue from me, that there's no way, I can't sell any more motor graders that already have a lien on them. And so, you know, sure, there were some mistakes made this year, but I think if we all work together, we're gonna get through this.
I think that's the main thing I have said today. 5-0 vote to move forward, everything's gonna work out. You don't have a 5-0 vote, it may be a 0-5 vote. And things won't work out.
We have no choice.
I hope that's right.
But now that we've pointed out there may be $1 million deficit for this fiscal year, don't you think that the proposed budget's gonna have to be changed? You're gonna have to add $1 million worth of revenue or cut $1 million worth of expense.
Well, I
You
agree
can
with
do that with the M&O rate, it has not been raised yet. That'll be a decision for
That's
y'all to
something that's
make.
gonna
But
have to be
we've
decided
pointed
by
this
the
out.
commissioners at the budget hearings. They got some big choices to make. Big choices to make.
But the immediate issue is how to legally negotiate or navigate paying the bills in September.
Well, I agree. There's a
And
legal
so
way to
it's above our,
convert cash.
it's above our pay grade. I mean, we can't
There's a
tell,
legal way to
Our-
convert cash to revenue, I'm sure.
you can't convert cash to revenue.
If cash is in the bank, revenue has already been recognized.
I'm sorry, not putting it back as a revenue, but some way, I'm sure you guys as accountants know how to convert cash into usable monies to pay the bills.
No, sir, if I'd have done that, I've had it in my update. I mean,
Well, how did you get cash, get revenue into cash in the first place?
kind of the problem with this county, and I'm not sure it's a good analogy, but if you think of a long haul and you're a drunk and you're walking down the hall. Last year, we dipped into this wall that we had fund balance, but no cash. This year, we're bumping into the other side because we have cash, but no fund balance. This situation's a little more unusual. It's very unusual.
Well, I got an email from Todd Pruitt, who is the outside auditor, that said that he had given the county an adjusting journal entry to convert some cash to, or to move it back from cash.
Sir, this is the budget. He did not convert anything into the budget.
I'm just saying that he had an adjusting journal
Of
entry.
course,
I don't know what.
I agree totally. I mean, we wrote an update on it. I understand that exactly. The cash is there.
You took from a special revenue fund and moved fund balance over to the general fund.
2 years
It didn't
ago,
create revenue.
It created revenue 2 years ago.
Between the funds, but not for the county as a whole.
Now, but it helped 2 years ago.
The entry is from cash to the general operating account.
Anyway, I have it pointed out, and we are suggesting that's what this current agenda item is I would think y'all as Commissioners Court and the county auditor is gonna wanna get some help to pay our employees and pay the bills in September. And then some September bills come in October. You know, they got, I mean, so you got this situation, and I'm scratching my head because I can't help. This is unprecedented, uncharted territory. I believe the only way to navigate it is for all 5 of y'all to navigate it together, and it probably won't be a problem. Because the checks, the cash is there.
Do we need a motion, a court order to call Tom Holland and get him involved?
I don't know the answer to whether or not we can actually pay bills and meet payroll that would pay us into a negative fund balance. I don't know that answer. And before I would even attempt to do that, I would want legal counsel advice steering me in the right direction.
Can you get anybody better than our bond counsel?
I don't know. That's.
Oh, and the auditor, I mean, the independent auditor, because you need to know how your books are gonna work. I think he's gonna be able to get some guidance, because I think what's gonna happen is he's gonna tell y'all, no.
Excuse me. I still have the floor. Let's still address it.
Yes, sir.
Do we need an order of the court for you and me, for instance, to call Tom Pollen, and you can get him here September the 8th.
I would like something from the court giving me permission to talk to someone about the situation, because I don't know the answer. And I need
I need a
legal
court order
advice.
before you will make that call.
Whatever it takes from the court, yes.
You will not do it without a court order.
I need legal counsel to advise me of what I need to do.
Right. And that legal, the best legal counsel we have on these issues is Tom Pollen.
That's up to the court to decide who to use.
We can
Did you
recess,
get him?
I can go call him now.
Did you get any response from Texas Association of Counties when you contacted them?
They would not give me a response on this item.
And the Attorney General would not either, correct?
No, they would not either.
What I'm hearing, probably there's no case law that addresses this, correct?
Based on what Mr. Sanford said, I doubt it. I don't know that, though.
I do not know that either. We have been unable to find him.
We're going to have to recess for lunch in a few minutes. I'd recommend that we recess until 1 o'clock, and during that time, I will make an effort, without court order, to call our bond counsel and see if we can get some direction here. Court's recess until 1 o'clock.
I would suggest that we get something in writing rather than just a phone call. I would like to have something in writing that says that we can do that before we go further.
Court's coming back into session at 1:01 p.m. on August 25th, 2014. It's where we were on agenda item number 15, consider and take action to authorize county auditor to obtain legal and accounting guidance regarding overspending the net budget and general fund balance. Commissioner Whitten, this is still your item. Are you ready to make a motion for us?
If you want.
I believe it behooves everybody to have some legal understanding of how y'all can work together to do everything. I don't know. So,
So we'll have another discussion.
Okay.
Do you have anything you want to add? No. Add anything?
Well, I think it's time that we did something to convert some cash into usable funds. I know today we're still on the positive side, barely. And this might be the time to go ahead and make the motion to move some of that FEMA money into general operating account, and to also move some of the loan into the operating account, whatever the auditor feels like is necessary to make it at least through September before we do get into a deficit spending situation on the overall budget. And we would have to probably get some guidance from Patilla, Brown, and Hill, our outside auditors, on how to make the adjusting journal entries to make that happen legally. And I don't know if it would be necessary, since we're not in a deficit spending situation as of today, to need legal assistance to make fund balance transfers.
Further discussion? If not, Chair would entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion that we transfer the remainder of the $5 million loan into the general operating account, and at the same time transfer the money in the FEMA account.
That's not the agenda item. You look at it.
transfer the balance of the FEMA account into the general operating account before we do get into a deficit spending situation in the overall budget.
Are you on agenda item 15, Mike?
Yes, that's where we're at.
Well, that's regarding overspending of the net budget and general fund balance.
Okay, that's what I want to be sure.
Yeah, and that's what I'm trying to,
Do you want to seek legal?
I don't know that we need any legal advice to transfer our money if we're not in a deficit spending situation yet, which obviously we're not. And we can as a commissioners court, we can vote to transfer our monies wherever we want to if they're not restricted. And neither one of the funds I just talked about is restricted. They're cash, and it has to be converted to cash to the general operating account. But that should be something that accountants can come up with on how to take care of that. It's just a matter of accounting. So, but if we put it off until we're in a deficit spending situation, then we might need legal assistance. But at this point, we have $1.93 million left on a loan that we took out to make sure that this situation doesn't happen.
Tom, is your position on the agenda item you've introduced, basically that we shouldn't take any action until we obtain legal and accounting guidance?
Yes, sir, I think that's been evident from our auditor. He wants some advice, correct? Am I correct?
I need some legal advice on whether we can pay ourselves into a fund balance or not. Right now, I don't have the answer to that, and I would have to seek some legal counsel advice regarding that.
How did we move the $1 million last month out of the loan without legal advice?
We transferred it from the account that it was in to the operating account.
Can we
But
not do
that
that?
did not increase our revenue any. And if we move any right now, it will not increase our revenue. All it does is increase the cash balance in the general operating fund. But you're still going to have expenses with bills you pay and payroll that you meet that actually hits expenses. In other words, expenses
somehow or another,
are going to increase.
You've got to get it into revenue.
I don't know of any.
I don't know
I don't know of
any
any way you can get it into revenue.
It's already been revenue. You can't make it revenue.
No, it was not revenue.
Well, one of them was.
One of them, true, it was a couple of years ago. But the loan is not revenue. When we borrowed that money, we increased cash and also increased a liability, a note payable to pay that. When we pay that note off, we will decrease cash and decrease the liability, which is no payable.
So we
Has
need a-
no effect on revenue or expense.
So we need a lawyer to tell us how to do our accounting.
No, I can handle that part.
Okay.
But we need a lawyer to tell us whether or not we can actually pay ourselves into some legal counsel to help us determine whether or not we can pay ourselves into a negative fund balance. I don't have the answer to that.
We have a motion on the floor, but I allowed this discussion because the person making the motion was asking for clarification. But we really can't discuss this more until we have a second, and we don't have a second on it, or if you withdraw your motion.
I withdraw my motion. Y'all figure something out.
I would make a motion that we call a special session in Commissioners Court for Friday morning at 10 o'clock, and that we take up agenda item 15 after we've had a chance to find out what direction we're going to take from legal counsel that's already been hired to help us on this.
Not unless you want a table, but it would die for lack of a motion.
And I will amend my motion to table agenda item number 15 until we hold a special session at 10 o'clock Friday morning. What is that? August 29th? motion, do we have a second?
Second.
And I wasn't,
Second.
Mr. Blackburn. Further discussion?
Yes, sir, we're gonna seek advice from a CPA or certified public accounting in this as well. Do you need that help as well? Are you okay with that?
We can call the Gulf Patrol ground as well, or outside auditors, and see if they can send someone in.
I'll be glad to do that.
Are you?
Sure.
And all I've done is table to be brought back at the special session Friday morning, everything you've listed in agenda item 15, which is both legal advice and accounting guidance. Any further discussion?
One other discussion.
Yes.
I won't be here Friday, but as you well aware.
Oh, what would you ask us to do?
What do you think?
We were appointed on a Monday in June, but the meeting was adjourned until Friday or something.
We would still have to post a 72-hour notice because it's longer than a day.
If we may, I'm going to go ahead and bring for a vote. We may decide to look at the machine. We won't go to the I'm sure your views will be very well represented.
Did we get this information in a day's time?
The earliest we could meet would be 72 hours from now on Thursday. And so we're just setting it for Friday morning.
Instead of Thursday afternoon?
Yeah, because we're going to wrap up here today. But what happens is we get enough guidance from legal that we've already hired and paid, and outside auditor, we might be charged a little more there, so that we know how to proceed on number 15 Friday morning. Is the idea. I would like to poll the commissioners for a vote. Commissioner Stone, how do you vote?
I'm okay with it right now. Think about this a minute.
Commissioner Carter?
I vote that we meet Friday.
Commissioner Carter votes yes. Commissioner Stone passed. Judge Lacy votes yes. Commissioner Whitten?
Pass as well.
And Commissioner Blackburn?
Vote yes. Go ahead and leave Friday.
And Commissioner Blackburn votes yes. The motion passes 3-0 with 2 abstentions.